This podcast is brought to you by LOETB Community Education Service.
Well, I started in Móna 72-73. I started in the Briquette Factory. I was brought in at twisting of pipes for the dryers. Those pipes, they were about 70 foot long. They were a straight pipe, and there was a machine in the Briquette Factory for putting a spiral on the pipe. The idea of the spiral was that there was water or steam on the outside of the pipe, and the peat went through the centre of the pipe. And because it was spiraled, the peat was hitting the steam of the water, drying the peat as it went through. But anyway, I was there for about a week or that, and I was new to the job, so I was sent to the store for a skyhook. When I got to the store's issuer told me that Aaron Pete's next door had the loan of it, and I asked him what size it was. And he said that I'd want a 4-wheel hand hook, so I got one and headed off for Aaron Pete's, which was next door. I was going up the yard and I was passing the weighbridge when the yard foreman asked me where I was going. I told him everything. He sent me back to the spiralling machine, and there was an almighty row. I never saw a skyhook after. 3 people walking out the bog on a ditcher. A ditcher was a machine for making the drains in the new bog. One evening, while they were eating, they were having the tea. One of the lads passed around a plate of meat, and the 2 lads thought it was lovely. "What kind of meat is that?" "It's here," said your man. "If you get one again, bring it in and we will cook it on the ditcher." The very next evening, your man arrived with a hare. They put it on a saucepan and boiled it for a few hours. Anyway, tea time came and they took up the hare. The lad that brought in the hare said he would not have, so he was after having it for a couple of days. So the 2 boys tore into it anyway. The 2 lads had a right feed. After about half an hour, one of the lads was down on his hunkers in the cab. The lad that brought in the hare said, "What's wrong with you?" And the man says, "I have an awful pain in my belly." "It's your appendix." "No," said the man, "I got that out when I was 8 years of age." "I say, boss, you're in trouble." The other lad that said, "I have a pain as well." With that, the 2 of them opened the sliding door of the ditcher and jumped out into the bog with their trousers down around their ankles for the rest of the shift. Golden rule: you never eat fresh hare. A group of lads out on the bog. One of the lads he was looking for a dog. So one Saturday morning anyway, your man brought in the dog anyway, at 8 o'clock. And they said, we're quitting at 5 o'clock in the evening, what are we going to do with the dog for the day? And the man says, "Look, I'll take off my coat and we'll leave it at the hut and the dog will lie there all day." "Oh, God knows," says the man that was taking it on. "No," he says, "out my right," he says, "having him at the hut all day on his own." He says, "We'll put him in the boot of the car." So the man had a Morris Minor. So they put the dog in the boot of the car and they went on and they done the day's work. And they came out that evening to the car, and the lad that had brought in the dog came to the car first and he looked in and the dog was in the car, but he had eaten his way out of the boot. Inside had all the seats and all tore up, And he says to him, man, I said, boss, here's everything pulled in the car about the joke. A new employee was given the clock number 601 when he began working down Mona Briquette Factory. This was just like a number of any other new person would receive on commencement of their employment. But 601 would turn out to be different. Along with identifying the employee, he now became known as the abbreviated version of the number more often than not to refer to as 60. This term was used for many years until it became to the stage where he was getting fed up of it. It reached the stage when he announced to his workmates that he was going to confront the manager of the time about his predicament. So off he went, up the yard, and by any chance who did he see come in the opposite direction? Only the manager. Now was my chance, he thought, and as he drew closer to explain his situation, the manager, he greeted him with the words, "Well, Sixo, how are you today? Did you want me?" Well, that he was heard to say, and with a shrug of his shoulders he turned and headed back down the yard again. The poor manager did not know what was wrong. In Downlock folklore, he is still known affectionately as Sixo. Look at it, it went out of hand. It was written everywhere. It was written above in Crow Park. It was written on the back door toilets. It was written in the pub in Bull. You know, jeez, it went viral. The old boiler panel was operated by the boilerman from the second floor of the factory, and it was quite close to the supervisor's office. But there was one boilerman every Sunday morning. He would go into the supervisor's office, and there was a sink there, and he would wash himself and shave to go to mass, because that time, like there was no mass of a Saturday evening or anything like that. But anyway, one Sunday morning he went in, and of course there was a few of the good boys below at the bottom, and they hook up a hose. They rig up to the downpipe. So when they saw him going in, of course, they turned on the hose below, and of course all water, tea leaves, you name it. So there was no mass. As the two lads rolled around breaking their hearts laughing, the boilerman do stuff to say that he missed mass that morning. I was with a few nice lads. Now look at, we had our rows, what those fierce devilment for. I never regretted going into work. It was always a pleasure, you know. Because it was always a game, a devilment, and now there'd be serious rows, but look at all forgot about. But we got on fierce well as a shift together. Yeah, there was always something. A lot of messing went on, but all harmless, like, you know. The whole interest was gone out of it. The lads above in Dublin and Newbridge and all that, they didn't seem to have the same interest as the older folk. Like when I started, there was a manager there, and you know, you went to the manager for everything. And he went on to Dublin, and he got a brief from there, and you got whatever, or you didn't get it, whatever the case may be. There was great. The manager of the factory had great interest in the factory, whereas the latest managers didn't seem to have the interest. They just wanted out. You know, you could see it slip. Well, in my time, the productivity actually went up, because new technology, new machines, it really, really went up. But I suppose we're living in different times now, and the powers to be don't want you using the peat, and that's it. It's sad for the younger fellas that's there now, like, because it was a great job. It was a mighty job. Oh, the wage was great. The wage was great. Like, I only went to national school. I didn't do any other schooling. I only went to national school, and I never thought I'd own my own house, own my own car. You know, I put two of my kids through college. You know, it was great. Great. Oh, yeah, I'd go back to the lads. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, when my shift would be on, the supervisor and the lads, yeah, I would go back in. Yeah, go back in. Now, look, not as much the last 2 years either, because of COVID. You didn't want to be going. But before that now, I'd often cycle over every Sunday. spend a couple of hours there, and the tea and the crack, and cycle home again. It's only about 3 miles away, like, you know. Oh, they always worked up a Sunday. There's a 7-day, yeah. Oh, it was 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Did you ever do a night shift?
I done 45 years of it.
What was a night shift like in the bar?
It was tough. It was tough when you had a young family, you know, when they were very small. Say you went home in the morning then and they were up and they were making noise and what have you. And here were you trying to sleep. And sure, you know, very hard to sleep during the day. And the only time you wanted to sleep then was at 11 o'clock at night when it was time to be going back in. Yeah, so it was tough. It was tough, there's no doubt about it. Yeah.
And leaving a cosy fire.
That's it, yeah. But look, it was work. So what they're doing with it now is getting it ready for the turbines, the wind turbines. And I'd sooner see anything else in it too. I'd sooner see solar rather than the turbines. I think they're an eyesore. You can see them for the thunderbolts, the carving and that. Like they're digging holes there at the moment, and I believe there's 80 and 100 load of ready mix going into each hole. And the amount of digging they have to do to get 100 lorry loads of concrete into that hole well, to me it doesn't make sense. There's 10 or 12 lorries drawn there for the last 3 or 4 months, making the road first, and now they're digging the holes, and there's about 100 load of concrete going into each hole. Like, it was great. The peat came in there at 40-50% moisture. It was put through the dryers to be dried. It was dried down to 10-12%, and when it was dried in, it was compressed into a bale of each briquette, you know, and it was sent on up then from the factory up to the baling machine, and the baling machine made a bale of briquettes. Put a strap on it and down to be palletised. In the olden days, it was a wire strap. Nowadays, it's the plastic. But in the olden days, it was the wire. Very happy, yeah. And it's great to retire and be in good health, isn't it? I enjoyed it. When my father died, I was 16, and there was 8 of us at home. And I went out. I took his job. He worked as a farm labourer with a farmer, and I took his place, and that came to an end in about 10 years after. And I went to a place in Panama, band tile. They used to make tiles, and that folded, and it must have been a recession came or something, but it stopped anyway, and that's how I come to go to Móna. But you know, I enjoyed Móna because working with a farmer, you worked hard, and you worked 7 days a week, and I couldn't believe when I went to Bantile, like you stopped at 5 o'clock in the evening, and you done a half a day of a Saturday. When I was at the farm, I was doing 7 days. You know, so I really appreciated Móna when I did get there.
This podcast is brought to you by LOETB Community Education Service.